With this session update, I'm Shannon Lurkey. The Local Government Policy Committee met to hear testimony on a bill that would encourage municipalities to increase the development of affordable residential housing. Here are some highlights from that meeting.
I've been working hard on trying to help the cost of housing in Minnesota. And the cost to build a new home in Minnesota is one of the highest in the whole country. And we know there's a lot of things that affect the cost, but the bottom line is we have a shortage of housing, and we need to build more than what we currently are at the current rate. So that's one factor. The other factor is we have the worst equity gap in the country, one of the worst in the country, depending on who you listen to. We're one of the bottom five for home ownership between whites and people of color. We have a lot of regulation in Minnesota, and this bill kind of addresses a couple things. The first thing in the first section on the 1.15, we are asking the cities and municipalities to encourage them. We're not requiring them, we are encouraging them. And that's something we worked with the league on, and to really look at lot sizes and have a small section of their cities that are maybe a little more dense populated for building units. And then on the second section is the PUD discussion. And I know the league has reached out to most members on that, and we are not eliminating the PUD. Currently, we have in statute a rule that says for building code that cities can't require anything that isn't in the building code. And with PUDs, the way they've been worked, they're circumventing that building code that we already have in statute. So this fixes that loophole. This bill is geared towards residential development. So nothing to do with commercial development. This is residential development. And the section of law that I'm referring to is 326B.121, if anybody wants to bring that up on their computers. So when we're talking about the building code and how does that interact with this bill, what we're saying is that communities cannot require a certain appearance for building a new development.
State law gives every city in Minnesota the ability to plan for its own community through its zoning and subdivision ordinances. Once those ordinances are adopted, builders and developers and landowners have to follow those rules. PUDs were evolved as a way of trying to address very unique circumstances that the developer and the community agree are appropriate to address by way of the PUD. But PUDs have now become the primary means by which many cities force a developer to take on additional responsibilities over and above what the code would otherwise require. It's a unilateral decision. It goes above what their zoning ordinance would require. And our point of view on this is, if we are bound by the city's zoning and planning ordinances, then the cities ought to be bound by those same rules. And we should not be forced to comply with standards that go above and beyond what the code would require, whether it relates to the use of stone on the exterior, whether it relates to minimum lot sizes that go above and beyond what the code would require, or items that drive up the cost of housing in a way that increasingly is pricing too many people out of the market.
Everybody agrees. The fix for our housing market is a surge in affordably built starter homes throughout the state and region to bring balance to the supply of homes in our market. And we've studied this closely. We have multi-state builders that build in our state and many, many others, and we can say this with confidence. Where zoning and rules allow for starter homes, they get built. Where zoning and rules don't, they don't. I'd ask the committee to consider finally what inaction looks like. You'll likely hear that community character and local control are threatened by this bill. You might even hear that the status quo is the best option for housing. Mr. Chair and members of the committee, those concepts, character, local control, they have been the justification for exclusionary zoning for decades.
Lack of housing inventory continues to be a serious and chronic challenge for buyers and the overall health of our housing market. Last week, Minnesota Realtors released our market data report for February, which shows less than a 1-month supply of inventory. That is a drop of 51% from February of 2020 and well short of the 4 to 5 months of inventory that's needed for the market to be well balanced between buyers and sellers. Our members see the severe lack of housing inventory firsthand every day as they counsel a frustrated buyer who just found the home of their dreams only to lose out when one of the 10 other offers was accepted, or the first-time buyer on a limited budget who can't find a home in their price range, and then when they finally do, it is gone before the realtor can even schedule a showing. Lack of housing inventory is holding the market back and posing a significant challenge for getting more Minnesotans into home ownership.
And one of the things I want to point out is earlier I had said that land, labor, and materials are the highest cost drivers of housing. One city took a specific look at the cost breakdown to build a 2,000 square foot home with no basement and a small garage, 400 square feet. Just looking at labor, materials, land, and just the infrastructure for the home, the cost was just under $271,000. This does not take into account the skyrocketing price of lumber today. According to the National Home Builders last month, it's been up 180% since last spring, which is more than $24,000. This also doesn't take into account labor costs if you are in greater Minnesota and you have a hard time getting any contractors to come out to build in your community. Cities are not the problem. Cities, as I mentioned earlier, are part of the solution by addressing things locally. Taking away local control with a bill like this through things like PUDs not only means that local officials can't address local needs, it won't likely make any difference in the price of housing.
Imposing laws that take a step in the direction of statewide zoning impede the ability of local officials to address the needs of each city, and they go against longstanding fundamental local authorities that exist to give city officials the ability to provide for the overall health, safety, and welfare of the community. Metro Cities respectfully oppose this bill and ask the committee to support local decision-making authority.
This bill, similar to a number of other bills that have been introduced during this legislative session, are aimed at removing local control from the planning and development process. This is being done in the name of housing affordability. The reality is that local development fees only represent 3 to 7% of the cost of a new home. As was mentioned earlier, the real cost drivers for housing are land, materials, and labor. The other item that is missing in this bill, as well as all the other bills introduced this year, is a requirement for developers to reduce their home prices accordingly. What we have witnessed in Prior Lake is that reducing lot sizes and allowing for higher densities does nothing for housing affordability. The homes that are built on small 55-foot wide lots are still being sold for over $500,000 here in Prior Lake, similar to homes on larger lots. It's the builders and the market that are responsible for these higher sales prices, not city fees.
There's an underlying assertion with this and other proposed legislation preempting local control that cities are part of the problem. Again, I respectfully disagree. Cities are taking many actions to support housing in their communities. For example, in the city of Elko New Market, we continue to be proactive locally and without any legislative mandates. In just the recent months, we've adopted reduced residential lot sizes, approved new reduced street widths and alternative water main materials to reduce the cost of infrastructure, adopted an accessory dwelling unit ordinance to provide additional affordable housing options within our community. Additionally, we're in the process of reviewing other zoning regulations, and we're considering reductions in our utility fees to help reduce the overall cost of development. These solutions have real impact and work for Elko New Market without being legislated at the state level.
I think this is a pretty heavy hand of government coming down on our local partners. I don't think we would accept this from a federal government. We'd be in unison, Senator Draheim, screaming about this if the federal government was trying to do some of this stuff. I think what we should be doing is getting a stakeholder group together to look at the process, fees, approval, because I think some of them are duplicative and time is money. And so I think if we would look at what the state does with the county, with the that council with the cities. Maybe there's a way to make that really efficient, tight, and quick, and can do that. But I think the PUDs allow cities to review really good projects holistically and grant them the flexibility from the zoning code to allow a project to advance. It's been said that it's the developers that come in and ask for the PUD because they see the market here. And each community is changing. And I look at the city of Cottage Grove, where I represent. I was on the city council. It's my hometown. In 2015, they approved 60 new housing permits. In 2020, it was 273. So that's kind of, the jump. And I think, the pandemic has had an impact on people because the mortgage rates are down. Even, there's a lot of refinancing going on. So I don't think any one of you singly are to blame. So I think it's just kind of a bunch of different factors.
We're talking about aesthetics. And we have to remind ourselves, we have the worst housing equity gap in the country. And this is part of the problem. So we need to work on that. It has setbacks, trees, all that stuff, doesn't matter. So members, I'm very passionate about housing. For the last 5 years I've been here, I've worked on housing. I've served on the governor's task force for housing. In my personal life, I have a development company, a real estate company. I go to conferences all over the country. I've spent a lot of time working on this. I'm passionate about home ownership. And one of the reasons I'm passionate about home ownership is because I think it's a pathway out of poverty. We need a great education system. We need a career path job. And we need a home for people to move into for their family. And we have this NIMBY, not in my backyard. We all want to live in that perfect town, that perfect neighborhood. We need affordable housing for workforces. When you go all over the country, all over this state, you hear about people not being able to find an affordable house. That's what we're trying to get at here.
To continue following these issues and more, watch legislative coverage Monday through Friday on the PBS Minnesota channel or visit our website, www.senate.mn/media.